Okay, so this one guy apparently, who's a Twitch streamer called Atrioc, did something pretty reprehensible. If you don't know what's going on, then this one guy called Atriarch, he basically was paying for some service or something along those lines that would generate AI generated porn. Now, if you don't know what that is or you don't know what the situation is, what that is basically the AI generated porn is basically people taking faces of individuals who are celebrities or whatever, any individual really, and putting it on the bodies of actual. Keep in mind that these men or women, but generally it's gonna be women, do not consent to be in. They they get a ton of offers, they get a ton of these things, but they do not accept them because they don't want to do porn. They are not into that. They are not consenting to do porn. However, Atrioc, who is a massive streamer, thought that it was a good idea to do that. And he was, after all that, was also reckless with it. And everyone is just disgusted by it. Anyone who is saying that it's not something that, oh, it's not a big deal, she's a public figure, oh, you know, is kind of insane, honestly. Like, it makes no sense. Now, let me make this very clear. I'm actually not a big fan of Pokimane. Some of the stuff that the way she deals with criticism and stuff like that, it's, I don't know. In my opinion, it's a bit much. The way she has done things in the past with like the copyright striking and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of that. But whatever it might be, I think she, as a content creator, or even just a person, has complete right to be mad at these sorts of things being available online for a lot of people. I completely agree that it's in her right to get this stuff shut down. And she's not the only one. There was, I believe, a streamer named Maya, and I think this is probably the worst offender. Pokimane is someone who is, in my opinion, more famous. That's why I was talking about her. But I think the worst offender is Ludwig's girlfriend. Not Ludwig, his girlfriend. Now, let me also remind you that Ludwig's girlfriend. I don't know about the Ludwig's girlfriend thing, by the way, but I'm pretty sure about Maya, another streamer, and Pokimane. All of them were friends with Atrioc, this guy. He was friends with them and was like watching porn them that was AI manufactured. And it's really weird. Now let me make this very clear. I'm not exactly a socially normal guy. I'm not good at social stuff, okay? However, I do understand that when you're talking about sexual stuff, consent is the most important thing in every single way, shape, or form. Going back to the whole Ludwig's girlfriend thing, QTCinderla, it was her stuff as well in there, where her things, the same thing that happened to these other streamers happened to her as well. And honestly, it's sick. It's just genuinely sickening because she was like his friend's girlfriend, and in my opinion, that is a very, 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 very big, like, I don't know what the word is. Like, I think it's I want to say almost like a backstab, or it's really bad what that is. And there is no humor in this situation because there are victims in this situation. Now, to us guys, at least for me personally, if someone did that to me, I wouldn't mind because I'm a dude, and I don't know, I would find it funny. But for women, I think it's completely different. And I can only speak for myself, but if anyone did that to me, I genuinely would find it funny because that's the kind of sense of humor I have. But I feel like women have a completely different perspective on it, and they will not be happy with it. I'm sure there will be women who are more than happy to even go completely naked. And they're called porn stars or OnlyFans models or any of them. But not these streamers. So it's one of these things where it's so clear cut to me that there is no need to make these kinds of things by whoever that website was. And then this guy paid for that service. Now, he did apologize, and there is a hilarity in this situation, and that the only hilarity is that the apology video itself. Again, it's not hilarious in the fact that what happened. What is hilarious is that guy, the way he apologizes. He makes excuses about how it was just on a normal porn site or whatever, and then he clicked on porn links or whatever. Everyone knows that you're not supposed to click on those ads on porn videos. Are you stupid? Like, are you really that stupid? And then, if already the situation was not fucked up, his wife was right next to him crying. Now, call me pessimistic or whatever it might be, but I can understand that she is probably sad that her husband is being lampooned on the internet, but I don't think anything is. I think she's more devastated that her husband would act in such a way. It seems extremely sad to me that if a girl finds out that their husband has been doing stuff like this to no less, and their friends too. That's even worse, in my opinion, than just doing it to, normal consenting adults. And there's also the whole situation with, like, him having the gall to say, I'm trying to make this platform better for females or women or female streamers. Like, you gotta be shitting me. The hypocrisy is insane to me. The hilarity part to me comes where the apology is so poor. It's funny because what he says, that's the line that he says, oh, I'm trying to make this a safe place, Twitch, a safe place for women. Like, seriously? This is how you do it? And you know what? You did all that stuff. You went to that website. You did your thing to it, whatever. I think what makes it even worse is that how many people actually found out about it. This has opened a whole new can of worms in general. You can argue that, hey, it's just all this just comes with the territory of being a female streamer and stuff like that. And I would agree with that it just does, but I want to argue that it shouldn't. I want to say that, like, if you're going to have people be female streamers or whatever, I think we need to not do these things. I think the worst part is that when he got caught, there were other repercussions that like a side effect, where now more people have found out about this stuff and more people will be compelled. AI is now definitely taken over in terms of so many regards, where recently we had the whole is AI art really art kind of a debate. And many people say yes, many people say no. There's a whole debate going on. Now, I'm no prude, by the way. I personally fucking love porn. It's some of the best shit that the internet has been graced with. The unfortunate reality is that it has terrible side effects. You can consume whatever material you want, unless it's not legal, and you should be able to consume whatever you want, because it's not consenting parties in a compromising position. If it was consenting parties, I would say that that's cool. They would get paid more for less amount of work. But even then, it's like how it's being distributed, and then we go into that whole thing. At the end of this, and all of this is like, this is just a fucked up situation. I genuinely think that technology has come so far up is that it's getting scary now. I love technology. I really do. For fuck's sake, I'm a computer engineer. But now we're looking at things like these, like we are now genuinely at this point where that technology stuff is now affecting people, like real people, on a real basis. And it's really messed up. The whole situation really is. And even though I'm not a fan of Pokimane, I do feel bad for her and all the other victims. My heart really does go out to them. I do feel bad. They did not deserve it. QTCinderla also made a very interesting tweet that was like, or I think she made a statement, I'm not sure, where she said that there was like some amount of body dysmorphia that she experienced, And I never thought about it that way. That's true. You can experience some amount of body dysmorphia because a lot of times the people in porn would have quote unquote perfect bodies, right? So it makes sense, but it's not. It's just not something I ever thought about. So yeah, I think that this stuff. I think if these people who do these things, they need to be taken down, or maybe not taken down, but the websites that make this kind of shit, they need to be taken down. I think that having lawsuits against these websites and stuff like that is a good step that any of these streamers can do, and yeah, that's a good step that the people are taking, 100%. And if there are consenting parties being like, yeah, go ahead, make it, and I don't care, I think that's a completely different story. But for the people that don't, that's not a good thing. The other point that I also wanted to make is that there are people who are like, oh, but why does it matter? Like, why are people so stupid? Like, they know it's fake. No, they don't. The way they market this thing is that it's not fake. It's a leak. So once you know that, it's like you can understand why it's misleading. But Atrioc went on a completely different route where he knew that it wasn't real and he was looking at it anyway. Quickly, again, editing through here, and I had another point that came to my mind when I was editing the video, and is that, yeah, now we're looking at celebrities and stuff like that, but when you think about it, additionally, it's like, what happens when these things become even more prevalent and easier to access for regular people, and which it already is, and it becomes even easier for, say, kids to be accessible, so teenagers and stuff like that. It's easily possible for some jackass to do that to one of his classmates, or some male or female student, doesn't really matter in this case, to plaster their face over some kind of, porn or something that will ruin that person's reputation, or many other things that can just drive them into depression, and that can affect their life in a really, really, really negative way. Teenagers can be mean. Teenagers can be really fucked up. Because when I was a teenager, I had a terrible time. And obviously, as I've grown up, I have learned to sort of cope with a lot of things that happened with me when I was younger. But when you're a teenager, the only life that you have is right in front of you, and all these things are happening to you. You cannot see anything else. What if someone does that kind of shit? Personally, I love that the technology is being so far pushed, but this, we need to either curb it, or we need to have legal laws everywhere in the world, so there are no more victims who are underage, or just simple people who did not consent to it. There are so many things that I think that can go wrong with this. This needs to be put down into the ground, or at least curbed in the right way, before it becomes too much of a nuisance. And not just a nuisance, because this is something that is playing with people's lives. So yeah, that was another point that I thought was really important to add. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. That's all for today's video. And yeah, peace. Oh yeah, so subscribe to the channel, and also like the video, which it also does help the channel. Thanks a lot. Peace.